Yo, we talking about groceries on FBA. Yo, easy. Yeah. J to the O, the Mayos. Groceries on FBA. What you know about that? Step your game up, suck it.
Good morning, everybody. Well, if you don't know me, my name's Shawn Mayo. I'm an Amazon selling coach, and we do webinars with many different companies to showcase all the products that they have available. We do mastermind coaching for Amazon sellers, new, advanced sellers, and every place that you may be in your Amazon FBA business. We have mastermind groups. You can get the link in the chat or in the description if you're watching the replay. And we provide daily sourcing lists as well as many other things to help grow your Amazon business. So today we have SellerEngine with us, and we're going to talk about all of the products they have available. I think everybody is familiar with Profit Bandit, some of the products that we even used when we first started out for mobile sourcing. If you do retail arbitrage, they also have a product, Celery, for repricing, and SellerEngine Plus is a listing tool, as well as many other services, tune-ups for your Amazon account to help prevent you from being suspended, as well as services to help you once you are suspended and when you're ready to expand internationally. They have several services to help you with that, creating international bank accounts, and everything else you would need, creating your accounts and related services for expansion into the international markets. So Valerie, why don't you introduce who we have with us today?
Sure, and then they can go ahead and take it from here. But today from the SellerEngine team, we have Valentine and Julia, and they will be going through and taking you guys, answering any questions that you might have. And they're also going to unveil some special offers that they have for you all, but really just going in depth on what their products can do to better your business, and a really easy formality of how you guys can utilize them and integrate them into your current Amazon, FBA, or any other platform processes. So Julia, Valentine, thank you so much for joining us. And you guys can go ahead and take it away whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone, thank you for having us. My name is Valentine from SellerEngine Software, and we're very eager to get started today. And thanks again, Shawn and Valerie, for the opportunity to meet everyone. Also with me is my dear colleague Julia, and she will start today's presentation.
Thank you. Yes, well, I also need to thank you, Shawn and Valerie. It is really a pleasure for us and an honor to participate in this webinar. So thank you so much for inviting us. We have prepared a short presentation for you and for everybody who will attend today, but also a presentation that you can email to everybody who subscribed. First of all, I think Shawn has outlined very well all of our tools and services, but we'll try to get into a little bit more detail. So let me try to screen share. Just one moment. Okay. Okay.
I do see your screen, so I think it's working.
Yes, I can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Just one. Good. So we are a software and services company for sellers on Amazon. We started the business in 2002 when we introduced the first automated repricing and inventory management tool. We are on the market, as you can see, for over a decade, and we are constantly supporting Amazon sellers to sell on Amazon. We provide them feedback, coaching, and solutions to their problems. Precisely because we are on the market for such a long time, we have a good experience with what it means to sell on Amazon. So we try to leverage our experience to sellers on Amazon, beginners as well as experienced sellers. A little bit about ourselves. So I am with SellerEngine for almost 3 years. I work in the Celery team, that is the repricing software team. And I deal with sellers on Amazon on a daily basis. For Celery, we offer email as well as phone support. So I talk with a lot of sellers on a daily basis, and I see a lot of strategies. I get in contact with what challenges they have, and we try through the software. We try to help them overcome those challenges and help them set up good pricing strategies so that they can sell more. And then I'm also part of the services team. That is, I discuss with sellers who most frequently get suspended, and I get in touch with a lot of the issues they have and why they got suspended, and this gives me a good understanding on what you need to do as a seller to stay safe and avoid such situations. Then Valentin, my coworker, can also say a couple of words.
Sure, yeah. So, I started out providing support for SellerEngine Plus. As Shawn already mentioned, SellerEngine Plus is our desktop application for listing items. Not only can you list merchant fulfilled inventory, but you can also list FBA inventory. And since the process of listing FBA involves also sending in shipments, SellerEngine Plus will help you instantly create FBA shipments, and you can also list them through the software. Aside from all things related to FBA shipments, SellerEngine Plus will help you with managing your current inventory, doing product research, and also managing your merchant fulfilled orders if there are any merchant fulfilled sellers out there. Another cool feature in SellerEngine Plus is that you can import buy lists from Profit Bandit. As I understand it, a lot of you are already using Profit Bandit. So then rather than having to go through the Seller Central templates to list the items that you scanned in Profit Bandit, you can use SellerEngine Plus instead. Aside from providing support from SellerEngine Plus, here at the company I also get involved with some of the marketing tasks, and also jump in on teams for new product development. And I've also done my share of testing software here as well. it's a very good process to learn. So yeah, that's a bit about myself in a nutshell. So
okay. Well, to carry on with our presentation, I've set up here a list of our software tools. As Shawn mentioned, we have Celery, SellerEngine Plus, and then Profit Bandit, which I guess you are all familiar with. For Celery, I've tried to outline a couple of its major strong points, such as winning the buy box, repricing your items in real time, and never selling at a loss. I'm going to detail them in a second. Then for SellerEngine, mentioned, you can create FBA shipments, print labels, manage your Amazon inventory, and much more. For Profit Bandit, as you all know, you scan barcodes. You can now see all FBA offers. We've also introduced, and I think you are looped with this, the restricted category alert. And for Profit Bandit, there is constant development, and as it is for all our software tools, we do put a lot of emphasis, and we do focus a lot on customer feedback, and we base our development on the feedback that we get from you, from the customers who use our tools. But Profit Bandit in particular has developed quite a lot recently, and maybe Vali can further detail when we get there. So I'm going to briefly talk to you about Celery, and I'm going just to cover some points that make our software really useful, and one of the most powerful software that is on the market right now. So I would like to start with the real-time repricing feature. This feature, what it basically does is that when your competitors lower or raise their prices, what the repricer does is that it reacts instantly to the market changes, and it adjusts your prices according to the changes on the market. I've prepared here a graph where I tried to outline for you how this works in the back end. So basically, we have the timeline here, and then we see Celery and a regular repricer, or you can even refer to manual repricing because it works pretty much the same. So what happens in the back end with Celery is that we see point 1, the first red dot, is when your competitors, one of your competitors decides to change his price. As you all know, Amazon typically takes up to 15 minutes to set that, to display that price change live on the catalog page and on the offers page. So the second red dot is when the competition's price change is actually live on Amazon, and when your customers can see the change in the price for your competitor. During this time, during the time when your competitor changes the price in Seller Central, either manually or through another repricer, and the time when the price actually goes live on Amazon, what Celery does is that it gets a notification from Amazon that, hey, here's what happened, your competitor changed his price. It instantly reacts, it changes your price according to your strategy, whether it is to match the change, undercut it, overcut it, win for the buy box, you name it. And then it instantly sends your new price to be also updated live on Amazon. So basically what happens is that the changes in prices happen pretty much in the same time. So there is no big lag or no big delay between when the competitor price is live and when your price is live again. So you manage to react instantly to the changes in that happen in the market. Whereas following the line, we see in the orange dots, this is the time when a regular repricer, or you for that matter, can change the price manually. A regular repricer or through manual repricing, you can only change the price only after the competition price is live and is displayed on Amazon. So this is a really important feature that we have, and that a lot of our customers are happy with, because it keeps them on top of their competition, and it keeps them in a good spot to follow the competitors or fight for the buy box. Then another feature that is really important, and that I've put here as never sell at a loss, is that Celery has what we call minimum price. What it happens is that Celery automatically calculates for you a minimum price based on your cost and the Amazon fees and commissions. We automatically retrieve from Amazon the fees and commissions. We are always up to date with Amazon's changes in those fees and commissions. You probably know that just recently Amazon changed a couple of those. And then when it comes to cost, well, when your items get first imported into Celery, they get imported with a default cost. It's typically calculated as 50% below your listed price. However, you can definitely go in Celery and update your costs to values that are more in line with your business. When I refer to cost, we typically refer to how much you've paid for that particular item. But you can obviously factor in the cost, other costs that you have. So this minimum price is really important because it prevents you from selling at a loss. Celery will never reprice your items below this minimum price. So even if your competitors will try to make you sell for a penny, that will never happen because this minimum price is in place. Then we have this, what we like to call saving countless hours of work. And here I would like to talk about the smart lists feature. We have this feature that allows you to group your inventory into smaller sections that we call smart lists. Those smart lists are dynamically updating based on the changing market conditions. So for instance, let's say at one point you end up being the only seller on the market. So you end up having no competition. If you have a smart list where you would like to catch the items for which you do not have competition, then the items for which you ended up with no competition will automatically move to the smart list, and you can reprice the items in the smart list in a different way from the rest of your inventory. And this saves you a lot of hours of work because you don't need to sit in front of your computer and always monitor what's happening on the market. Did the prices go up or down? Am I without competitors? a very good use case that I've seen with FBA sellers, because I understand that a lot of the people who follow you, Valerie and Shawn, are doing FBA, is that of creating smart lists based on FBA quantity with age. So you can basically group your inventory into smaller sections based on how much time they are sitting in the Amazon warehouse. And based on this criteria, you can definitely set up different pricing strategies. For instance, for the items that you would like to sell really quick, you can set up a smart list to be you can set up a pricing goal to be a little bit more aggressive, and to be a little bit more aggressive and try to make the sale faster, whereas the items that you have just shipped to the Amazon warehouse, you can keep your prices up and continue to fight for the buy box. Then you can obviously monitor your sales with those smart lists and see the items that are selling really well compared to the items that are not selling that well, and try to adjust your pricing strategies, or try to create some dedicated pricing strategies for the items that are not selling that well.
I have a little question regarding that. Do you have more analytic-based pricing strategies, things like raising the price when your inventory becomes low, or so if the inventory becomes low, is there a way to set it so it'll raise the price?
Yes, there is a way to do that. Basically, you would need to create first, you would need to create a smart list based on inventory volume and inventory sales, and then you can adjust the prices from the margins. We are now working on a new feature through which you can adjust your prices, your future prices, based on the current price that you have. We don't have this in place right now because, to be honest, we've always been a little bit afraid that users might come in and make some settings or create some settings that will drive their prices to high or too low. But there is a way to do that, and that is through by setting up a margin, and that margin is applied to your current price. So your current price will move up or down based on your sales.
So, but there's no direct way to say, if my inventory in stock goes, below 10, to add a certain percentage to your selling price.
That's a good point. I'll put it down on our feature list. Currently it is not possible to do that.
Okay.
But I'll definitely put it down, because one thing that I'm looking for out of this webinar is to also see what you would need and get a feedback from you on what you would need, so that we can further develop features and solutions.
Right. So, basically the deal would be that if, when people are just replenishing and are buying at wholesale, Amazon really doesn't like when things go out of stock, and that's when they start purchasing the items themselves. So, it would be very beneficial to sellers to make sure they never run out of stock. So when if the stock got low, they could raise the price, and still sell, but not as fast of a pace. I think it would be really good for the Amazon seller. Another related question is, So a lot of the other reprices have recently, and I believe it's because the Amazon API changed a bit, but no one else either is able to or want to reprice based on conditions and subconditions anymore. So is that something you're able to do? Let's say you're selling an item that's used in good condition, but you don't want to compete against people that are in acceptable condition, because they have a lower quality product, or, if it's very good, you don't want to compete against acceptable. Is that something you're able to do?
Yes, yes. I'm going to answer your question, this last question, but I want to come back to the first question based on stock volume and tell you that a best practice that I've seen with such sellers for which the stock levels is really important. Obviously, for everybody, the stock level is important. Is that within Celery, you can actually generate exports and schedule them to monitor your quantities. You can schedule an export with quantities for your entire inventory on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. Then you will obviously need to check out those reports and check out for which of your items you are running low on stock. So it is not really what you're looking for in terms of really automatic process, but this is a workaround that we have and that might be good at this point. Then getting back to your last question, yes, that is possible. So in Celery, when you create your pricing rules, you can actually select the conditions with which you would like to exclude from your competition, or the conditions with which you would like to compete against. So if you wouldn't like your prices to follow the prices of another competitor who is selling the same item but in acceptable condition, then yes, that is possible and you can do that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple questions in the chat as well. Just kind of while we're touching on this, I know that I think Tina was just kind of saying what she does, which was, I do this by making a smart list where inventory is less than X level, then pricing rules set minimum price to 50% above cost instead of the normal 25%, and then she pairs the list with the higher minimum pricing rule to raise her price when stock is low. So I don't know if you have any comment on that, but if not, Anil did have a question on another feature, wondering if that's existent with you guys. So
yes, well, for Tina, that is also a way of doing it with pricing rule and a smart list. But as I was saying earlier, from Shawn's question, I understood that he wanted something more automatic. But yes, that is definitely possible, and Tina's workflow is good.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then exclude offers not matching your condition. Okay. Anil wanted to know if it exists, the ability to reprice an item if it's sold by Amazon and Amazon runs out of stock.
Yes. That is definitely possible within Celery. So basically, when you create your pricing rule, you have a competition tab. Let me try to see if I can show that to you. Just one moment. Can you see my screen?
We still see the Celery,
Yeah, your screen's already shared.
Yeah,
okay,
but it's still in your slideshow. It's still in your presentation. So I don't know
if you want to get rid of that, you'd have to end the slideshow and then share, your other screen.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So what Tina is asking is definitely possible. Here is the pricing rules screen that we have for Celery. And then when you start creating a pricing rule, you first need to go and tell Celery how you would like to go around your competition. So what Shawn was asking earlier, you can definitely exclude offers based on condition and tell Celery to compete only with offers in the same condition as you or in the same or better condition than you are. And then yes, it is possible to exclude Amazon out of stock offers. And more than that, it is also possible to create a special case to tell Celery what to do if Amazon is selling the item. So if Amazon is selling the item, or if Amazon has the buy box, you can definitely set up special cases for those instances and define how you would like to set up your prices in such situations. I hope I've answered Tina's question.
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to other questions as well. What I wanted to point out is that we do have free trial for Celery. So with this free trial, we are happy to offer in detail training and tailored training for each and every person that signs up for Celery. So during the trial, they will be able to see how the software looks like, how it works. But definitely, if they have questions even now or before they start the trial, they can definitely send us their questions here at support@SellerEngine.com. And we'll be happy to answer their questions at any time. Okay, so moving forward, I will hand it to Valentin, my coworker, to talk to you about Profit Bandit and then SellerEngine Plus.
Thank you, Yulia. That was great.
All right. So, thank you, Yulia, for sharing all that information about Celery. Moving on to a mobile scouting app called Profit Bandit. It's a very useful app for your phone. It works on iOS and Android. Also works on tablets, iPad, not just phones. It's a very neat and tidy app used to scout items, to scan items on the go. You can use a Bluetooth barcode scanner when you're out at thrift stores or at any other sales. And basically what it does, it allows you to scan the barcode on an item or to manually search for the barcode or just the title of an item. And it will bring up useful information such as competition data, what are the lowest prices split by by condition categories and fulfillment channels. It will show you through camel, it will show you the sales rank history. You'll be able to see all FBA offers. And before you scan an item, or even after you scan an item, you can set the cost for the item, or the buy cost. Yeah, for the item. On top of the buy cost, Profit Bandit will automatically add Amazon's fees, such as the commission, Amazon commission, of course, shipping costs, FBA fees, and so on. So all additional costs that are implied by Amazon will be added to the cost that you initially specify. And based on the lowest price, it can be either the lowest FBA price or lowest merchant fulfilled price. Based on this competition price, Profit Bandit will automatically calculate your profit. It will simply try to match the lowest price that you set in your preferences in the app, and then it will show you the profit that you are likely to make on that item. It will also show you, of course, whether or not you are restricted from selling that item, and buy box information as well.
Yeah, hang on. It tells you if your account is restricted.
Well, it tells you if you're restricted from selling an item in particular. For instance, if you're only registered to sell items in certain product groups and you're just out scanning stuff that is outside of your approved product groups, the Profit Bandit will show you that you're restricted from selling the item. Or
right,
there
I
is
see that on the screen. What about hazmat?
Hazmat materials, yes. I think it will display that as well. I'm not 100% sure. I have to say Profit Bandit is not my strong point, but I can check and answer that question for you.
Okay. I have something that really should be part of that. I don't know if you have a way that you can let them know, or I don't understand why it's not there. But it makes it very complicated when with your buy list. When you add something to the buy list, you can't enter your buy cost. You have to add it to your list and then go back into the buy list and then set the cost. And it really adds a whole lot of time to that process.
Yes, we are aware of that drawback, and this is something that has already been passed on to Bogdan and the rest of the development team, and we're trying to we're trying to get this issue solved so that the buy cost will automatically get added to the buy list without having to go back and forth. And as far as I know, this is only an issue on iOS devices. I think that on Android devices, this is working properly. But I'm not 100% sure of this.
Okay.
This is something that we're definitely working on. And since you mentioned the buy list, we can, one cool feature that SellerEngine Plus provides, our desktop application, is that you can import the buy list from Profit Bandit directly into SellerEngine Plus to then create new listings in bulk with the items that you've selected in Profit Bandit.
Okay, here's another question. You can, if you don't have SellerEngine Plus, are you able to save that buy list in any way, or does it only work with SellerEngine Plus?
No, you can save the buy list, of course. That's a very good question.
CSV file?
Exactly. You can save the buy list. You can email it to yourself directly from the phone, and it will get saved as a CSV file, which you can then open and edit in Excel, and you can integrate that the information from the buy list in Amazon's upload templates. But I think, I think importing the buy list in SellerEngine Plus is a time-saving workflow, because once imported in SellerEngine Plus, you can assign SKU values in bulk to all the items. So you'll need the merchant SKUs, obviously. You can set an initial selling price different from the one that was set by the app if you want to. And moving forward, after generating new merchant SKUs, in SellerEngine Plus, you can move on to uploading the items if you want to list them as merchant fulfilled, or to create FBA shipments with them. And you can do that very easily in bulk simply by adding the items to a shipment. Another way of adding items to shipment, aside from adding them in bulk, selecting them from the inventory list in SellerEngine Plus and then adding them in bulk, is by scanning them in one by one. You can use a USB barcode scanner. You can set the details prior to actually scanning the item in. Details mandatory, such as, of course, the quantity, the initial selling price. If you want to specify a description or a condition note, you can do that from the Quick Add tab in SellerEngine Plus. That's how it's called. And then once you have all these details set, all you need to do is use the USB barcode on your scanner to scan the item in. As soon as you do that, the item gets added to a shipment and also to your inventory database in SellerEngine Plus. Also, as soon as the item gets added to a shipment, SellerEngine Plus can be set to automatically print the FBA label for you. And it will clear the Quick Add tab, the Quick Add window, making it ready for you to move on to the next item. Now, I understand that for people who use Seller Central to create and manage FBA shipments, it's recently become a problem to automatically print individual FBA labels because of the Java plugin that the Amazon website uses, and because also Oracle has recently announced that it's discontinuing that particular applet. And so what's happening instead in most browsers is that the labels will actually get saved as a PDF file, and then you have to take the additional step of printing from the Adobe Reader. All the labels, they'll all get printed on A4 sheets of paper, which of course can be time consuming. I mean, I can only imagine having to pick the labels from a sheet and sticking them on the appropriate products in the bundle that you're preparing for the shipment, right? So I can imagine that there's room for error in doing so. You might put the wrong label on the wrong item, and this can only cause problems, of course, moving further down the line. Not only is the workflow through Seller Central much more time consuming than through SellerEngine Plus, but it also leaves room for errors, like I said before. So yeah, once you're done working on a shipment, you can go in SellerEngine Plus, you can go to Seller Central to finish working on that shipment. One thing that SellerEngine Plus does not do, it does not also print the shipping labels from the preferred carrier or in the preferred carrier format. So the final step of finishing the shipment will have to be done in Seller Central. Then once the shipment is shipped and the preferred carrier labels are printed, the shipment can then be updated to the ship status in SellerEngine Plus. Moving forward, SellerEngine Plus will show you all your shipments split between their statuses. So you'll have a tab for all your working status shipments, one for your shipped and in transit, one for closed, and even one for canceled. And you can keep track of the progress made on your shipments by periodically updating the shipments. There's a retrieve shipment from Amazon button available for each shipment that you're viewing. If anyone is curious, I can share screen and show you exactly how everything works in SellerEngine Plus. Or if not, we can also move on to talking about product research and FBA and inventory management in SellerEngine Plus. If anyone out there is working or is planning on working with distributors, as you know, a lot of distributors provide you with Excel spreadsheets of items that they have in stock and for sale. Those spreadsheets can then be imported in SellerEngine Plus through a simple wizard. Once the item, so really all you need to have in the spreadsheet is a viable product ID. The product ID can be a ISBN if you're selling books, UPC or EAN codes, or they can be ASINs if you're buying items that were already listed on Amazon from liquidators, people like 888 Lots, if you've heard of them, and so on. So then, after importing the list of product IDs, you can quickly get the data from Amazon, and it will be shown in an inventory grid within SellerEngine Plus. And based on this information, you can make a decision on which items are worth listing and which are not. The information that's most useful will be obviously the sales rank, number of competitors, what the lowest price is for either merchant fulfilled or FBA, from merchant fulfilled or FBA sellers. You'll be able to see average prices and so on. SellerEngine Plus can also calculate an initial selling cost. So you can compare your initial selling cost, which is automatically generated once when you get this data from Amazon. So you can compare what your selling cost might be with the lowest price, for instance. So you can tell whether or not you can make a profit on an item. The software will also take into account the cost that you set within the software, or the cost that you import from your distributor. So once you go through the items from a spreadsheet, you can simply delete or discard the items that you imported and are not viable for you. And with those items once imported, you can take the same steps as the ones after importing the buy list, which are to generate merchant SKUs and then either upload the items to list them as merchant fulfilled or add them to shipments to list them as FBA. And as far as inventory management is concerned, in SellerEngine Plus, you can also download your current inventory on Amazon. And you can edit items or edit your listings in bulk. You can, for merchant fulfilled items, it's very easy to replenish stock. You just have to edit the inventory quantity field and then upload the quantity changes. And also you can delete items in bulk. For instance, if there's a particular section of your inventory that you're no longer selling, and you need to delist that quickly to avoid getting orders that you can no longer fulfill. SellerEngine Plus will help you to do that as well. And you can also manually update prices by increasing or decreasing a section or all of your inventory, and then uploading the price changes.
All right, great. Valley, we had a couple of questions. I don't know if you guys have, I know we've touched on some of them, so some of them have already partially been answered, but I don't know if you want to, if you kind of taken notice to any of them. If not, I can go over some of them with you. So,
yes, please.
So Barry had, and there's a couple of them, but in regards to shoes and clothes,
Okay.
when, I don't know, I'm sure you're familiar, but a lot of times they don't scan normally. So does Profit Bandit have any sort of solution to that where it will scan items that don't normally scan? And what would you say versus the Amazon app? So you touched on it a little bit, but the Amazon app versus Profit Bandit, and some advantages that you guys have that either of you might know about that could,
Okay. First of all, I wanted to answer. I wanted to answer Shawn's previous question about the hazmat materials.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, Profit Bandit will not notify you of restricted items based on hazmat issues. It will only show you whether or not you're restricted to selling an item based on the gated categories.
Okay.
As far as scanning apparel, that, as everybody knows, that gets a little bit tricky because there are multiple ASINs available for the same EPC code depending on size, color, model, and so on. And I have to be honest, I'm not sure exactly how Profit Bandit behaves scanning these items. And I can check with one of my colleagues from the Profit Bandit team to see if they can pass me a quick answer on that and get back to you on that question.
Okay, great. Yeah, because they, I think Tina also kind of added on to that in regards to shoes. So will it make parent and child relationship between color and sizes? I guess inventory loading is her question. She's got an Excel spreadsheet of a manifest that she's going to sell. So she researched but doesn't know how to edit and upload the found on Amazon. It's shoes that need parent-child listing. So
right. Well, I'll have to wait for my colleague's answer.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll get back to you in a few minutes. I'll make sure not to interrupt.
No, that's fine. I said that's not a problem at all. We'll just kind of keep that in mind. So then, do you want to touch on berries? What's the any advantages for people who are familiar with the Amazon app? So choosing Profit Bandit over the Amazon app.
Okay, yes. 1 second.
Just before Wally gets back to you on that question, a workaround that I can think about would be to manually input the name of the item or any unique identifier that you have for that particular item, because in Profit Bandit, that's also something that you can do. So aside from scanning it with your phone camera or with the scanner itself, you can also manually introduce the name of that particular item that you are looking for. I think Anil it was Anil's question. If I don't have the barcode on an item, is there a way to still find the item in the app? So that's a way I would think about doing in such situations.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that once Wally comes back, I think that we're all caught up on questions. Oh, you know what?
Yeah. So what I'm seeing here with SellerEngine Plus, other tools like Scan Power Evaluate and Cyber Monkey deals are limited in what you get. It costs $50 a month just to be able to process 50,000 items. You know, it's $20 a month, I think, for 5,000 items. You know, with Monkey deals. So, you know, just this portion might be well worth, you know, the cost of the tool. You know, and 50,000 items might sound like a lot, but when you start dealing with wholesale distributors, you know, some of them easily have 10 or 20,000 products, you know, just from one distributor. And you know, it would take weeks or months to go through every one of them. So you have to have one of these evaluation tools. You know, Scan, Power, Evaluate, you know, you get 50 free, and then, you know, you have to pay by how many you use. So, you know, if it's an unlimited deal with SellerEngine Plus, without even the listing portion, this could be well worth the cost, because everyone else out there seems to charge by how many items you process. And, you know, I know we're on the 50,000 item plan, you know, because we do process a lot of items every month. As well as, you know, the mastermind groups, you know, all the deals that we post, we reprocess those every week, you know, to make sure that there's still viable options for our mastermind members to be buying, and our gum roadless. Of course, we run those through, you know, a similar processing tool. So, you know, there's a lot of different applications for this, aside from creating your FBA shipments.
Yes, that's true. Thank you for touching base on that, Shawn. With SellerEngine Plus, since it's a desktop application, there's really no limit to how many items you can research. The only limitation will be imposed by, well, the speed of the software of your computer and the speed in which Amazon will reply to the calls made to their API. Because SellerEngine Plus is a desktop application, and since it's only charged based on subscription, not based on installations, you can have SellerEngine Plus installed on as many computers as you can or you have available, and then run product research on different lists of items simultaneously. And in doing so, you'll be able to save a lot of time, not have to worry about data plans or any sort of maximum number of items that you can research. Like I said, the only limitation will be the speed of the Amazon API of the computer, and also how fast you're going to be at doing that.
Right. All right, so I don't know if anybody, oh, you know what, actually, let me see if I had any, well, you guys, I don't know if Shawn, if you had more questions, but I thought there might have been one question that was sent to me that we haven't touched on. Everything else was already answered, so they can just review the replay and look at the answers there, but I thought that,
yeah, I do have. Are you able to tell us anything about the services that you offer as far as international expansion and tune-up?
Yes, definitely. I actually prepared a slide for that. Let me see how it works. Here it is. Okay, so when it comes to services, those are the main services that we offer. We started offering services as a result of dealing with so many sellers on Amazon. So since we got in touch with a lot of their questions, their challenges, then we started designing those services based on their needs. The first service that I would name is the Amazon Account Performance Tune-Up. This service is dedicated equally to experienced sellers as well as to sellers that are new to Amazon. Within the service, we basically review your Amazon account, take a look at your performance notifications, check out the emails that you send to your customers, so how you do customer support, and then review your business business reports, and then get back to you with problems or potential problems that we are seeing in your account, and then with guidelines, feedback and solutions to the problems that you get. For instance, if you are experiencing a small amount of notifications in your Amazon account, but in a short period of time, it is good to address those notifications, because even if your account metrics are in good shape, Amazon sometimes still might get you suspended. So addressing each and every detail that pops up into your Amazon seller account is really important. And with this Amazon account performance tune-up is basically what we do. We check out your account. If it's in good shape, then we validate the workflows with you. We try to come up with suggestions and guidelines on how you can improve your customer experience if everything looks good. Otherwise, we get back to you with guidelines and solutions for the pain points in your Seller Central account.
Right.
Then for the Amazon account rescue, well, this is pretty self-explanatory. Well, it's an unfortunate situation, definitely, but we do come across a lot of sellers who get their accounts suspended, and that's how we decided to offer this service. We do have a great deal of experience with reinstating Amazon accounts, and how the process works for this service is that we initially review your account free of charge, so that we can find out exactly what led to the suspension, because sometimes Amazon tells you, it might tell you the reason, sometimes it doesn't tell you the reason, or sometimes the reason is just half of the problem that led to the suspension. So we do a full review of your account free of charge and prior to the recovery process, and then based on this review, we are able to tell you what we believe your chances of reinstatement are with us. We are very straightforward, and we don't take cases where we believe we have lower than 75% chances of reinstatement. And you might question yourself, how are you assessing those 75% chances of reinstatement? Well, we do assess them based on the previous cases that we've seen. We assess them based on the workload and based on your particular business case and your particular business situation. As a side note, for instance, we almost never take accounts that get suspended because of having two accounts on the same venue without Amazon's permission. So because this is a situation that is really difficult to deal with, and almost always Amazon refuses to reinstate. So this is a situation that we typically do not take on board. But otherwise, any other situation, we are happy to have a look and then get back to you with a resolution and a review. Then moving forward to international expansion, This is also one of our services. Within the service, we basically help sellers expand their businesses in other marketplaces. We currently support Amazon Europe, so starting from Amazon UK, Germany, France, Spain, Italy. We obviously support them in the local languages. So if you need to set up if you want to expand to Germany, for instance, you would obviously need to set up the account in the local language, and we are able to do that. We basically set up the account, set up all the details, explain to you all the details on the new venue. When it comes to Europe, we also help you with registering for VAT, because unlike US, in Europe there is this VAT tax, and you need to register for that, and there's an entire process about that, and we are able to help you with that. Then we help you get ungated for gated categories, as you've mentioned. So we are able to provide you with all the details that you need to get ungated, and then help you out throughout the process, and hold your hand if Amazon gets back to you with any extra questions or requirements. We also are able to help you expand to Japan and Canada, aside from Amazon Europe. And linked to the international expansion service, there is this customer support service that we offer. I know most of you do FBA, and for FBA there is not much customer support needed on your side, but there are still there are still inquiries and emails from customers that might come directly to you. When it comes to customer support, what we basically do is that we take over your account and all your customer support processes. Customer support with us is managed by a real person and not by a software, because I've met customers who work with virtual assistant, if I remember correctly, and they use templates or other things. And for us, there are real people working for your accounts, and we basically, yes, monitor your performance metrics. Aside from answering emails from your customers, we engage customers to leave positive feedback, and we try to resolve the negative and neutral feedback. Throughout the years, we've learned that neutral feedback might be even more dangerous than negative feedback, and it definitely needs to be addressed. So yes, those are our services. I will put a link for our services if you would like to check out our webpage as well. And you can obviously drop us an email on any questions that you have about the services.